Hey everybody, this is the Goal 60 for Week 3, 2017 college football. So just real quick before I get started, remember that everything that you hear in this video or read on the blog is these outcomes are just my opinion and things that I put together to make that opinion, and do with it what you will. Feel free to use any part of it that you like, but just always remember this is completely my opinion. So with that said, I'll jump right in. Last week, from thegoal60.com and also on Twitter at thegoal60. Those 3 plays that I put up went 2-1. Iowa, we had the over 48. There was 85 total points scored in that game, so pretty easy cover. TCU, Arkansas, we had the over 58. There was only 35 points scored in that game. Arkansas just couldn't get anything going. They actually held TCU down a little bit better than I thought they would, and lost 28-7, but all in all, only 35 points scored. So that was our single loss. And Oklahoma plus the 7.5 at Ohio State, which I'm sure that if you're watching this video, you know what happened last week with Oklahoma and Ohio State. We had an outright win at 31-16. I also gave out 7 leans at the end of the video. Those 7 leans went 6-1. So all in all, if you played everything that I gave out last week on the video, you went 8-2. So a good week 2 for us. First game I want to talk about is Tennessee at Florida. Right now, Florida is favored by 5, and the over-under is 49.5. Now, Florida is down a lot of players. They've had a lot of suspensions, including their starting running back, one of their key wide receivers, and they're also, this week, they're going to be down 2 defensive backs. They also come into this game, they played 1 game against Michigan where they got slapped around, didn't have a good offensive game, and didn't have a second game to get in rhythm, get any practice, hit somebody besides your teammates. So I really think they're going to come into this game playing a little not sure of themselves, maybe even a little tight, not playing loose like they need to really compete in Division I college football. So, in my opinion, you got to take that in consideration. While on the other side, you got Tennessee coming to this game, who week 1 come from behind, from being down 2 touchdowns to a triple option team, come from behind on primetime TV, took it into overtime, won the game outright, went into week 2 against the Cupcake, won it handily, got their rhythm down, got their defense some reps, and really are gelling as a team going into SEC competition. I did give Florida 2.5 points for home field advantage, and I do not give over 3 points to home field advantage to any team. So 2.5 points is a strong, home field in my opinion. There's only a handful of teams that have that rating. There's only a handful of teams that have 3-point home field advantage. So it's a strong feeling. You see how I feel about teams that have to go on the road and play in Gainesville. Projected stats, I have Tennessee rushing between 150 to 160 yards, while passing between 170 to 190 yards. I have Florida rushing between 120 to 140 yards, while passing between 150 to 170 yards. I did project 50 total points scored, 25 to 25 being a tie and having to go to overtime. Now with that said, not many teams have ever landed on 25. So just keep in mind that when I look at everything, I assign point values and then I add them all up, and that gives you your total score for the game. So realistically, this could be a 24-21, 24-24 type game. But either way, if it does go into overtime, you've got to look at the underdog. You've got to think about, if they can, say Tennessee's getting 5 points here, as long as they kept it within a field goal, even if they lose the game or win the game, either way it don't matter. 3 points, either way, we would cover. Just couldn't lose by a touchdown, obviously. Some data points that stuck out to me. Florida, this definitely points towards Florida on the first one. SEC home favorites from 0 to 4 points in the weeks between 1 to 5 or 17 and 8, which is 68%. On the other side of that, SEC away dogs between the same point value in the same weeks are 12 and 12 since 2010. So I look at this being a very close game, and I look at Tennessee being the play here. So I would take Tennessee plus the 5. The next game is Purdue and Missouri. Currently, Missouri is -7.5. while the over-under is 77.5. This week, Missouri did fire their defensive coordinator, and while most of the time a team fires a coordinator, that side of the ball is either going to be way better or way worse that following week. And then they'll kind of get into a zone where they're more, level-headed and playing kind of consistent ball the rest of the year. But in this case, I really don't think there's going to be a big drastic change. The reason is the head coach is a defensive coach. He was a defensive coordinator before he took over head coach. He's had a ton, of input to go with that defense. And where he may change a couple starters or maybe a scheme or two, he's not going to drastically change how that team performs. So I still got them giving up between 20 to 30 points per game or most games. So with that said, I have projected stats of Purdue rushing between 115 to 135 yards, while passing between 190 to 210 yards. I have Missouri rushing between 160 to 180 yards, while passing between 230 to 250. My projected score for this game is 32-25, which would give you a total of 57 points. And that 57 points is 20.5 points below the posted total. So that is the play this week. I think that going under the 77.5 is the play for Purdue versus Missouri. And last, we have Baylor at Duke. Currently, Duke is a 14-point favorite with the over-under of 60. The past 2 weeks, Baylor has been pushed around. Head coach Matt Rule has admitted that his team has been physically outdone both weeks. And those 2 games were including Liberty and Texas San Antonio. So a Big 12 offense and defensive line getting pushed around by Liberty is really sad, and it's laughable. And I don't think that's something you can fix overnight. I think it's something that you can definitely improve on overnight, but you can't completely fix that. That should have been fixed back in the spring, and especially in the 3 weeks leading up to the season. I know these players at Baylor are used to running a spread offense. They don't have to be that physical. Block for 2 or 3 seconds and get rid of the ball. Now they're having to block for longer. They run the ball more, and it's just something that's going to take time to build. On the other side of the ball, Duke is used to physical play. David Cutcliffe is an old school coach. He's been around a while. He coached Eli Manning at Ole Miss, and now he's been at Duke for a while now. He's a physical, coach. He likes his players to be tough, and I really think that streak goes on this week. With that said, Duke is down a starting wide receiver and an offensive lineman. Baylor is littered with injuries. They've got 3 starters out on defense, 2 on offense, and also a host of backups that are down this week. My projected stats, Baylor rushing between 70 to 90 yards, Baylor passing between 120 to 130 yards, Duke rushing between 220 to 240, while passing between 210 to 230. 3 different trends stick out to me big here. Duke is 19-12 against the spread as a home favorite under Cutcliffe. They're 29-20 against the spread after a straight-up win under Cutcliffe. And finally, under Coach David Cutcliffe, Duke is 26-11 against the spread against non-conference teams. My projected score here is a blowout, 43-14 Duke. While I don't like giving up that many points, I really think Duke wins by, more than the 14. So I really think this is a good week for this, a good time. I don't think Baylor's going to put up a ton of points. I think Duke is riding a high of how they performed the last couple of weeks. And I don't think that Duke is going to be a very good team in the ACC. But right now, they're coming in this game with some momentum. And I think they cover this 14 points and maybe even get close to what I predicted at 43-14. So Duke minus the 14 is the play. Just to recap, we've got Duke minus 14, Purdue, Missouri under 77.5, and Tennessee plus the 5. So 4 lanes that I had this week: Pitt plus 13.5, Boston College plus 13.5, Louisville plus 3.5, and Texas Tech, Arizona State under 76. So 3 sides, all underdogs, 1 total, and then the 3 plays that I broke down. I appreciate you watching this video. Please watch the NFL video, the next one that's linked, and make sure to follow me at TheGoal60 on Twitter. Thanks.